from the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight. We're breaking down the Broncos-Giants game. We're thrilled the regular season is finally here. We get to talk about real football. Joining me in studio, of course, Benjamin Allbright. Ben, let's go ahead and get right into it here. The Broncos offense against the Giants defense. What are some matchups that you're going to have your eye on?
Well, I mean, it's hard to single out any specific one. You're going to be looking at all of them. But there are some key matchups, I think, that the Broncos can use to take advantage of here, specifically with the tight ends. You look at the linebacking core of the Giants. I don't think they're athletic enough to keep up with these Broncos tight ends. I'd love to see the Broncos come out in two tight end sets. And if Fant, who is expected to be a full go, is a full go, then you put him and Albert Okwuegbunam out there and take advantage of the lesser athletic linebacking core of the New York Giants. I think with that speed, you can get some shallow crossers going, and maybe get some pick plays going, get those guys open in space and get them the football. Yeah,
Reggie Ragland and Blake Martinez are the two inside linebackers for the Giants. Of course, their safeties, Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers. Mm-hmm. So, yes, there's a little bit of an opportunity there. There's some household names out there on the Giants. They've got a
good defense.
They've got a good defense. They've got a couple of really nice interior defensive tackles. That's the group that really is going to be interesting for me, especially because the Broncos have, over the last couple of years, had some problems in the interior of their offensive line. So when you're taking on Dexter Lawrence and also Leonard Williams, that's going to be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, they run a 34, so it's two ends and a tackle, but they're going to be they're going to have their hands full with those guys. That defensive line is tough, and their edge rushers are the kind of the question mark, really, because they get O'Shea Ximenez,
and Lorenzo
Carter, and those guys are, Carter's the better of the two, but they're both kind of just a guy. So that's the interior of the pass rushers, really, where as you said, the line's going to have to hold up. Lloyd Cushenberry, a guy who maybe lacked the functional strength last year that he needed to have, it's gotten better this offseason. We're going to get to see it as a practical application in this game.
But if the Giants are going to be able to get pressure up in the interior, that's where the Broncos are going to have to be able to either get those wins or get the ball out super fast. And it kind of goes back to something that we've seen with Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos offense is either getting some of the shallow crossers, getting some of the running backs out in space, out from the backfield, or, as you mentioned, the tight ends. So you're 100% right. The quick passing game is probably going to be a big factor here, but not so much as because of the edge, but more the interior.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of it. You're going to have Dalton and Graham and Lloyd are going to have to step it up in this game because that's where the bulk or the meat of the, all puns intended, the meat of the Giants' pass rush comes from, is from that beefy three-man front.
Are you thinking about doing something different in the run game? Because you're going to have to try to still run up the middle. Like, you can't just bounce everything to the outside knowing that that's maybe the better matchups. But how different are you approaching that, knowing that really that's what the Giants are kind of wanting you to be able to do?
We've got our blocking package in for that. If it's me, we got some combo blocks. We got a little double. We're going to double team two of them and give one-on-ones to the other, whoever that may be. And that's how we're going to work that. I think that unless they're showing heavy pressure, combo and double team blocks are the way to do that.
Adoree Jackson and Bradbury, James Bradbury are your outside corners. And then Darnay Holmes is actually your slot corner in this. So, again, a lot of talent. It's the one thing that you noticed from the Giants last year. They only had one more win than the Broncos, but their defense put up top 10 numbers nearly across the board, which really tells you everything you need to know about the Giants offense and how bad they were. Think about it like this. The turnover margin. The Broncos were dead last in the NFL at -16. The Giants were even at 0. And they only got one more win. Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about the difference between these two teams. It's not as stark. It's just the difference of they didn't turn the ball over as much, and their defense actually got plenty more turnovers or takeaways.
Yeah, it's the defense is underrated, and Bradbury might be the most underrated corner in the NFL. He's a top 5-6 corner in the
Agreed.
NFL. A very good corner, and so he's something you're going to want to watch out for. I think the other corners are exploitable. The safeties, Peppers isn't as good going away from the ball. He's more of a TJ Ward type safety than he is like a Justin Simmons type safety. But Logan Ryan's got the athleticism to be out there and cover large swatches of space, so he makes that possible. They run a defense that's closer to what Wade used to run than what Vic Fangio runs. They try to send pressure. They try to send guys after you, put the corners on an island and survive that way. And they do generate turnovers that way. So, got to be careful.
Like I said, there's a lot of name recognition there on that defensive side. Let's go to the offensive side for the Giants and what the Broncos defense is going to try to do against them. What are the matchups you think are winnable against the Giants offense?
Well, the Broncos pass rush against the Giants offensive line, that's the exploitable matchup right there. That offensive line is hashtag not good. And that's the exploitable. If you're able to get pressure on them, you're able to get in the backfield, that'll take away from the other things the Giants want to do. You really want to exploit with pressure on early downs and make sure that they don't get in positive yardage situations, because then they can chip away with you with Saquon Barkley if they're healthy. If you put them behind the chains, now all of a sudden they're not running play action. Saquon's not a factor, and you can get after Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, QB quarterback rating, 22 points higher when Saquon Barkley's on the field and they run play action than at any other time. So if you eliminate those variables, then all of a sudden you can get after Daniel Jones and turn him over.
It's interesting with the Giants, too, because their big offseason acquisition was Kenny Galladay on offense. They also drafted Kadarius Toney, but it almost is like they got back a couple of players here because of Saquon coming back and didn't really play last year. So the Giants, for what we saw of their offense, which was really bad, they are getting some players out there. They're going to be a little bit of a challenge.
They are. Jason Garrett runs the offense there, the former Cowboys head coach, so we kind of know what to expect, at least in terms of what they're going to run. The question is can you stop it? Saquon's a handful. Now he's coming back off the injury. He's been limited in practice, so I don't know that he's going to be 100%. His backup is, everybody should be familiar with Devontae Booker, former Bronco, who the revenge tour last year was a bit of salt in the wound, but that's the backup and the alternate game plan there. I thought they overspent on Galladay. I didn't think they needed to go that route. I thought there were other things they could have done, but they overspent on Galladay, in my opinion. We'll see if that pans out for them. I think they're going to be in the market for a new quarterback after this season. I don't think Daniel Jones is it. To be honest with you, I don't think Daniel Jones is appreciably better than Drew Lock. So take that for how you will.
So you mentioned the way to attack the Giants defense is to try to get their linebackers in space. The Broncos are kind of in a bit of a similar situation here, because that's one of the things that you'd like to see you could do with Saquon Barkley. Again, not playing at 100%, but we know how dangerous he can be if he gets in a little bit of space. How can the Broncos play that, knowing that that's a weakness feels strong, but knowing that it's not necessarily the strength of what they're going to be rolling out there?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to figure this out, because we've talked about the Broncos wanting to play more 4 DB sets. This is the one team you may not want to do that against.
Right.
Anybody who's got a running back like Saquon Barkley, if he's healthy, it's tough to do that. Unless you think Pat Surtain is taking down Saquon, that's a tough ask. So, you may play with more linebackers. You may play more base or heavy than you normally would. There's 2 running backs on the schedule that you kind of have that fear about, Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley, just because they run so violently. And so, if Saquon is fully healthy, it's going to be tough to execute the defenses and the base defense you want to do. May have to make some adjustments.
Turnover margin is going to be big in this game. Both teams are going to want to establish the run. They're going to want to take the pressure off of their quarterbacks. So what are a couple final thoughts on what you think will be the difference between a win and a loss?
Turnovers is the main one. You can't and with Teddy Bridgewater back there, can't take negative plays, can't take sacks, can't get behind the chains. You've got to make those plays count. The margins are too thin. If you are able to get yardage, and the Broncos were the worst in the NFL at getting yardage on first down last year. Got to get yardage on first down. If you can get yardage on first down, Teddy can be successful. If you can't, it's going to be a long night. They were highly successful on third down, the Broncos, relatively speaking, because of Drew Lock bailing them out. I don't know that Teddy Bridgewater is able to do that. So, again, need to get those yardage on first down. Need to get 3 or 4 on first down every time.
Remarkably, last year with the Giants, they were worse than the Broncos on third down, but only by fractions of a percent. They're basically identical here, around 36% for both teams. But the Giants were also worse in the red zone, too, only converting 46% versus the Broncos 53%. So, again, kind of tells you everything you need to know. They got one more win. Their offense was worse statistically across the board in so many categories, but they didn't turn the ball over as much, even though we know that's a little bit of Daniel Jones, I guess, his identity at this point. So you hit it right there. Get to him early, get the turnover margin working in your favor, time of possession, all those kinds of things. I sort of feel like it's a bit of a fundamentals kind of game. If the Broncos can do the fundamentals things of things that they know they're good at, they should be able to come away with a win.
Stay ahead of the chains. Don't turn the football over. On the defensive side, put them behind the chains. get the turnovers. That simple.
All right. We'll be back next week to break it all down with you. For Benjamin Allbright, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching Broncos Country Tonight.